Welcome back, everybody, to His Heartbeat. And we have another great episode this week with Ashley Perry Lambert. So, welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and just honored to be with your community today.
Well, thank you. For those that aren't watching on YouTube, you might want to because this woman's stunning, gorgeous, and you can see her, the joy of the Lord in her. And so,
Oh, you're kind, Sue.
looking
Thank you.
forward to hearing her expertise, which is for you mamas out there who have just had kids and the earlier ages. She has lots to share about that. And I suppose for those of you who I'm not quite there yet, but hope to be someday soon, grandmoms that are taking care of youngins or helping your daughters or sons with their youngins and trying to give some good counsel. Or for that matter, I work with women and it comes up all the time, the struggle when you first give birth and suddenly you're like, oh gosh, I got to remember back to what I what I learned back then. So I think we'll get some great tips from you today, Ashley. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I pray that this is fruitful for moms in whatever stage they're in today.
Yeah, that's great. Well, tell us a little bit general about yourself first, and then go on to share what got you into this topic. Like, how is it now your career?
Sure, thank you. So, my name is Ashley Perry Lambert, and I have been in the health and wellness space now for over a decade. And it's always been my heart and passion to help women just feel their healthiest, strongest version of themselves. And it's been like this beautiful evolution of trying to do it without like the God piece in it, of just focusing on the nutrition and the fitness. And like now to where I'm at is to where like God is the center of everything. If we don't have him in that process, then it's useless, right? And so
Yeah.
now I'm at a point to where I have to have Jesus first and foremost. It has to be the center of
Yeah.
their day. And then just helping women like cultivate that in this new season of life. For me, I found out I was pregnant in during COVID. That was like 2020,
Oh,
end of 2020. And that was just like a really kind of like just a scary time of all the unknowns and what's
yeah.
happening. And I was the lead personal trainer at a big box gym here in Southern California. And I just felt like the Lord just gently, like, you're not going to go back to that job, like you've wanted to start your own business. And so now is the time. Like, I was working 16-hour days and like, I was like,
Oh.
just can't imagine being that away that much from my baby. And so that journey of being pregnant and giving birth in the season, it really led me down this path of finding out who I truly am because up until that point, I had really no idea that my identity was wrapped in my external body. And so once I had my baby, and of course that completely changed of what my
Mm.
body looked like, I was just so lost. I felt empty and unfulfilled, and it was like even going through a depression and like trying to figure out like who am I? And that's when I
Mm.
really, really, really started digging into my relationship with the Lord and seeing like who does he say I am? Like why am I here? Like there's a purpose outside of me just being here. Like the Lord has a reason for creating me. And so really just digging into that and then realizing I wasn't the only mom going through that. Like I thought, oh, I'm the only one. Like, is this normal? Like, is there something wrong with me? But once the Lord convicted me to start sharing on social media, that's when women were just like, oh my
Mm.
gosh, I'm going through the same thing or something similar. And so that's really what sprung on this journey of really helping women in their postpartum season and just motherhood in general. Because I feel like sometimes we feel like it's all on us, right? We're juggling so many hats, so many plates of trying to do everything. And so it's so nice to just have a community of like-minded, Christ-centered women to share this journey with.
That's cool. Well, you went through a lot of transition, right? So you're in this one career, suddenly you're pregnant. Now you're changing your career. That's a
hmm
lot to become a mom, think about giving up this career.
Yes, and I felt like I had, up until that point, I had just gotten the position where I felt like, okay, like I'm on the right path of like where I see myself in the future. And so walking away from that was hard, but then also on the other side, it was exciting because it was such an unknown time of like gonna have my first baby, and my husband and I were just so excited at that point. And it was not a transition, but I wouldn't change it for the world because the Lord met me in that challenging season, and especially postpartum, where I just felt like I was broken to the core, to be honest. And what he's in my life now, and just the women I'm able to help, like the ripple effect of letting God just surrendering it all to him and letting him just take control. I would definitely not be at this point if that process did not take place.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's every woman goes through a huge transition, doesn't she, when she gives birth? And it's
Yes.
unavoidable, even if you keep, quote unquote, the same job, you're
Yeah.
having to take a break. And it's not the same. Before you knew, oh, I'll come home and I'll just crash and watch TV or whatever. And now it's like I come home to my baby and I'm up half the night and
Yeah.
and leaving your baby too. I can't,
Hmm.
I did not have to do that and I'm grateful because that's really hard to, but
It
some women
is.
don't have a choice.
Yeah, and it's just so beautiful to know that like God is in the midst of all of that, making those decisions. Like, is it okay to stay home or do I have to go back to work and all of those things? And I think once we really allow the Lord to just speak into our heart and just to realize He's with us every step of the way, and even if it doesn't look like how you thought it should look, like it's all in His plan. I feel like for me that was a huge thing is like it's supposed to look like this, because I'm such like a high achiever type A personality where it's
Mm.
like this timeline is supposed to be this and this and this and this. And the Lord was like, girl, sit down. I've got this. Like, it's not going to look how you imagine, but it's so much better than I could have even guessed.
So it sounds like you took time to really pray. Maybe you're
Oh my gosh.
desperate, but we pray more when we're desperate, let's face it. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that just being intentional, I think, is the word I would use of like just really having those moments with him in stillness. For me, this season has changed so much because I had two babies in less than 2 years. And so in the beginning, it was just like survival mode. Like I would pray when I had like a second, like when I was breastfeeding, like when I just had a second to myself, like really just connect with him. And now it's to the point where now I can actually like sit and like read my Bible for more than 5 minutes, read more than a scripture. But I think it's so beautiful to just meet God where you are in your season. So if that's giving him 2 minutes when you wake up or in the middle of the night when you're up breastfeeding with the baby, then just give him that and he will honor that. I think we get into this mindset of like, oh my gosh, I'm not spending enough time with him. Like we have
yeah,
like this guilt and shame that comes.
right.
And so the Lord just knows your season, he knows your heart, and he will meet you wherever he wants to be in every part of your day. So he will meet you in every second that you ask. So just remembering
Yeah,
time is like a man-made construct. Like we get stuck in this time. It has to be
true.
5 minutes, it has to be an hour, it has to be. And he's like, I will meet you in every second of your day if you allow me to.
Yeah, I've been hearing more lately about God's presence.
Mm.
And I mean, it's very mysterious, isn't it? That concept that the presence of God. But I think, yeah, as you're breastfeeding at night, if you're still awake, sometimes you're falling asleep with your baby. Um, yeah, that's a time where you can just invite the presence of God, and
Mm.
you very well will experience Him showing up. And if nothing else,
Mhm.
experiencing the peace of God, the love of God, the acceptance, the nurturing. As you nurture
Mhm.
your baby, God nurturing you. And yes, you might have a passage or come to mind, or he might tell you, like you, here's your next career move. But yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, and I just, for me, inviting him into those moments, especially when you're like just exhausted, right? And you're like, I feel like I've reached the end of my rope of what I can do. Just inviting him in, like, help me in this
yeah,
situation, like, give me the strength. I'm frustrated, help me. Sometimes you're just like, I can't do anything else, and you just cry. But it's just like the Lord is there and He will give you the next step if you just continue to invite Him in for sure. And
yeah,
I love that you said the presence of God. It's like such this big thing, like we can't even really like fathom. But once you just call Him in, like He will come. That's all you have to
Yeah,
spray,
that's
and
cool.
he's there.
Now, you went through a period of postpartum depression, you said, and now you
Hmm.
minister and help women with that. Can you tell us more about
Hmm.
that? Both
Yes,
your
yeah.
experience,
So
but even what to understand about that.
yes. So I wouldn't say majority, but a lot of women go through postpartum depression. And it's because it's like this stage of life where you're trying to figure out who this new version of yourself is, but then you're also grieving like the old person that you were as well before you had your baby. But then you're also like so excited and happy to have your baby and to have this new season. And so it's like your hormones are all over the place, your emotions are all over the place. And when your hormones are so unbalanced like that, it's really easy to fall into a postpartum depression. And so for me, I feel like a lot of it, for me personally, a lot of it was self-inflicted because I had these ideas of what I thought postpartum was going to look like and the timeline that I thought it was supposed to be. And I feel like a lot of women, we get into that like, oh, this is what we should expect. This is what's going to happen. And it's like no one prepares you for motherhood. Like there is no like manual on your baby specifically. And so I think just really giving myself grace in that time period of just it's okay to not know. It's okay to cry. It's okay to need God even more in this season. Like just giving myself permission to just not be okay in that season helped a lot. And a lot of women that I talk to, their identities wrapped in either their physical body or like their career that they had before they had their baby, or like maybe not wanting to go back to that career or feeling like they have no idea what the next steps are. And also just not feeling like you know what you're doing as a mom because this is
Yeah.
a new season and you've never raised a baby before. And so there's like a lot of all of this. There's fear for one, but then there's also this unworthiness that starts to creep in as well. And so that's what helped me so much was like really digging into the Lord. What does the word say about who I am and who God's created me to be, and helping ushering other women getting into the word even more and just being still. It's like we have such a hard time with being still, especially as a mom. I understand we don't have any time to be still, but just give him like a minute or two of just sitting and just letting him minister to your heart, whether that's 30 seconds or whatever you have for the day.
Yeah.
He will literally guide you and like change your mindset, your focus for that day, and get you out of that place that feels so dark and scary.
Yeah, I think for some moms, they have expectations that it'll be so fun and maybe I even say the baby will meet my needs. And maybe
Mm,
it's not being met from your husband or your walk with God
mm,
and then instead you have this child who's just so demanding and keeping you awake and not let you sleep and cry a lot and poop a lot and and so I see moms that just crash because it's not all fun and roses what they thought and all cuddly and some kids are just easier and others
mhm.
just they're colicky or might as well be, and yeah, it can be
Yes.
challenging.
Yeah. And so a lot of the work I do is like helping women align their priorities in the way that God says we should, like Him first and foremost, obviously, but then also after that, it should be yourself, right? So finding something to help you fulfill yourself, like the overflow, like we cannot have any overflow into our husband, which should be next, and then the kiddos if we're running from an empty vessel, an empty cup. And so helping them realign that because it's so easy for us in any stage of motherhood to put our kids first before everything or even put them before our husband and our marriage. And so really helping women see how all of their priorities, they don't have to compete, they can harmonize. And not to say that that means everything gets equal time, but they can all work together in a way that God says we should because once they are aligned, then that's when he can truly come in and fulfill every need that you have and change your life for the complete better.
So do you have I don't know your like nutritional background or
Yeah.
all that, but do you have like certain recommendations for women or people, sites that you refer them to help that?
Yes. So A big part of what I do is helping women breastfeed as long as they want to breastfeed. And so we really focus on whole foods and making sure that you're getting everything on the plate. Especially for moms, it's like we're so overwhelmed. I remember eating like peanut butter pretzels all day long, like having my first baby, because I was just so overwhelmed and like thought I had to just be next to him every single second of the day. But just helping women like get your protein on the plate, get your carbs, get your vegetables, and just visually, like, what does that look like? So then when you have only 30 seconds, throw some food on your plate, like you know exactly what you should have in order to sustain your health, then also your breast milk supply, because that's so important for a lot of the women that I work with is they feel like they have to choose. It's like, I want to lose the baby weight and I want to be healthy and fit and strong and be able to get on the floor and play with my baby and all of these things, but I also don't want to lose my breast milk because that is so important to me as well. So I created this system where it's a beautiful harmonization of making sure that you have, your palm portions of protein on your plate, your carbs, your veggies, your fiber, your healthy fats, everything on the plate. And so that's something that I worked with on myself that I developed because breastfeeding was so important to me and being able to also feel strong and secure in my body and confident as well. But I didn't want to sacrifice one for the other. And we don't have to. Like there's the beauty of and so I created a system to where I've been breastfeeding for almost 4 years straight because I had my first baby and then less than 2 years later I had my second baby. And it was important to me to make sure to have breast milk for both of them. The oldest one I started to pump for him when I had the new baby, but I wanted to make sure that I could create enough breast milk for both. And so that's something that I've really developed and put my heart into because it's so important for so many moms to breastfeed. And it's such a beautiful bonding experience as well with your baby. And so that's a huge part of my program as well.
That's cool. So do you have that on your website or things they can contact you to
Yeah,
find out
so
more?
yeah, on my social media, Ashley Perry Lambert, you can find all the information about my programs and those sorts of things. Because we also just mindset, your walk with the Lord, your fitness, your nutrition, like all of it is important and all of it can work together. And so I've created a year-long program where there's different phases of depending where you are in motherhood, what your capacity is, how can we help and make sure everything's working together with God at the center.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so I remember feeling like you mentioned about husband. I remember feel like normally I'm all like sweet, oh honey, could you go get this for me? But I'm more like, I need this, and just kind of ordering him around, not even really
Yeah.
realizing I was doing that. So I
Mm.
wonder if, again, it comes down to expectations. I feel like if your husband understands what you're going to go through and
Mm-hmm.
what he's going through, what you're going through, even talking through, um, what part will he play in it? What part, if
Yes,
you're
it's all,
bottle feeding, he
yeah.
can be a part if you're not, but still, there are things that he can do. And yeah, do you have
Yes.
like, is
And
there a
remember, it's
good,
not just in,
I'm just wondering if there's like a good book, like the what to expect when you're expecting. Is there a follow-up to that?
I started reading Humble Moms, and she talks a lot about how Jesus is like the best example of what it means to truly serve and be a mother and all of that sorts of things, and how to have grace for yourself and all of these sorts of things. And so that book has honestly been life-changing. I haven't finished it yet, but I would definitely recommend that to any mom. It
Okay,
doesn't matter what season of motherhood you're in, but that book is just so good on
cool.
just showcasing Jesus's life and how that just is like a blueprint for us because just like Jesus here doing miracles and serving, but then we know what happened to him, right? And so as moms feel like we want people to see what we're doing so much and we want, we want accolades and all of that stuff, but it's just such a beautiful book. And I will say when it comes to the husbands, it's like we have to remember too that like this is a new season for them too. So as much as we're feeling like a mess and just, survival mode, like they're trying to figure out how to support you as well in this season. And I know for all of my clients, their husband in that season of watching their wife be pregnant, watching her give birth, it's like it opens eyes to so much more, and he's like even more in love with you. As the postpartum period, you may be like, get off, don't touch me, that sort of thing, but they're just so in awe of seeing you be strong and also giving them like the most beautiful gift ever, their children. And so it's hard for them too. And my poor husband, I loved picking his brain like after the fact of like, what was your experience like watching me go through postpartum? And his experience was so much different than mine. It was like, I was in awe of you. I loved you even more. I wanted to help as much as I could, whatever you needed. Like, I understood like it was a very hard time. So even though, we get snappy and we're like just giving demands, it's like, they understand. It's hard for them to, I mean, physically, they have no idea what our bodies have gone through, but they see and they are just so grateful and thankful for what you have done and brought into their lives. And so it is so easy to just throw them to the side, like, I got it, I got everything, I don't need your help. But they want to be involved, they
Yeah.
love that baby just as much as you do, and just finding finding a way to give him grace as well, because he doesn't know what he's doing just as much as you don't know what you're doing. And so it can be a beautiful bonding moment for parents, but I understand totally how it could also be a divide because you're just trying to figure out this new season of life. And it's beautiful when you harmonize and work together. But that takes time, and it takes giving each other grace, giving yourself grace, praying, asking the Lord to come in and, mend the relationship. But I will say it is so beautiful when we can figure out a system to truly work
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, I think we really have to, you've mentioned grace, have a lot of grace. And it's
Mm.
easy to feel guilt, like,
Yes.
oh, I'm not being a good enough mom, or I'm getting angry at my kid when I shouldn't, they can't help it, or I don't know, all these reasons. But I think
Mm.
the enemy really tries to get in there and create that guilt.
Oh,
And so I just encourage moms, I'm sure you do too, just like, you're doing okay. It's, don't be hard on yourself.
yes.
This is not easy.
Yeah, it is not. And sometimes you just need that affirmation, right? You're like, you're a great mom. You're doing a great job. You're doing the best you can,
Yeah.
And I think just allowing like the Lord also to just give you that word of encouragement from him that you can just hear so clearly when you're just still for a couple seconds is so helpful as well. But the guilt and the shame, I will say, disruption always follows intention. And so even though you're doing the best you can, like the enemy is always trying to see, can I sliver in and bring some doubt, some
Yeah.
guilt, some
Yeah.
shame? And even for me, like as a mompreneur, it's like the enemy will be like, well, shouldn't you be with your kids? Like, why are you trying to serve? You think you're doing what the Lord's called you to do. And like just bringing doubt and shame
Yeah.
into your mind about,
Yeah.
that's why it's important to meet with the Lord and to stand firm on what you believe He's telling you, because
Right.
I know I'm supposed to be a mom, and that's a calling that I have, and that's beautiful. And the Lord has also called me to serve women in a different
Yeah.
capacity. And so
Yeah.
just being connected to Him gives you that strength to keep pushing forward even when those negative thoughts come.
Yeah, we talk a lot in Crown of Beauty about truths and lies. And I think
Mm,
a big one that comes up for moms is, I'm not good enough. I should do
yes.
better. I should be more patient. I should be more knowledgeable about feeding. It's like
Yeah.
that's a way the enemy really tries to get in. So if you're feeling that I'm not good enough, please know that's from the enemy, because what you're saying, go back to the truth. The truth is that we are all that we need to be in Christ.
Mm,
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It
amen.
has nothing to do with my limitations or my upbringing or whatever. It has all to do with Christ being our sufficiency, and He's as sufficient for every single person as He is for me.
Amen. 1000%. Yeah. I love that you bring up that verse. That's one of my favorites. And I also feel like as a mom, it's so easy to get thrown off of your game, and all because you're trying to figure out your new identity and your purpose moving forward. Like some women are called to just be stay-at-home moms, and that's beautiful. And some women feel like they're called to work outside of the home and also raise the kids. So I think what you said just being connected to the truth. Like that, he will tell you what you
Yeah.
should be doing, what season you're in, what your kids need, and all of those sorts of things. I love that you brought that up. That's such a beautiful reminder.
Yeah, and I will say the more time you can be with your kid, especially for me, 0 to 3, the better. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of just a good uh rule to know. And then you can weed out what you can and keep in what you need to, honestly. So yes, I need to work, but for how much money, right? And what would be,
Mm-hmm.
can I do a job from home? I keep thinking of this crazy movie with Diane Keaton called Baby Boom.
Oh,
It's a
uh-huh.
famous movie. It's been around for a long time. But, she's this high-powered exec and she gives it up
Mm.
to stay home with her baby and ends up making baby food and selling it from home, country
Yeah.
baby. It's cute, but it's other than they do a little slam on born again Christians at one point. I don't like that part, but the rest of the movie is really
Right.
cute. And
Yes.
it's just something to be aware of. That helped me. I forget the name of the book I read, but it's when I had little kids, and I'm like you. I'm like a, go 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 and help women and minister to women and um you know do a million things at once. But it learning even scientifically in this book and research how important those first 3 years, that the amount that a child develops who they are by the time they're 3 is astounding, insane. It's a huge, it's like
Mm.
80% of their cognitive development happens in those 3 years. So again, we don't want to put guilt because God knows your circumstances, and but trying to provide that really great environment for that child. Even it may not be you, it may be more of your mom helping out, or um just a really amazing place for nurturing for that child if you're needing to work full time. But yeah, I just think don't just assume anything. Don't
Mm.
assume I'm going to stay home, period. Don't assume
Mhm.
I'm going to work 40 hours a week, period. I'm going to take this job and take that job. I'm going to keep that job. Just really, like you
Mhm.
said, I love how you're saying, ask the Lord. And I mean, shoot, you get a whole career change. And I hear that a lot. That's a really courageous step, you know?
No, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like it's been an evolution, right? Because, I'm going into like my fourth year of motherhood and I still feel like, I'm a work in progress. But like when I surrendered and like just laid it all at the Lord's feet and I said, "Okay, now truly guide me," that looked different even from 4 months ago. Like I felt like even as a new mom and I tried just being home and being with the baby and I was just like this is just not for me. Like I feel like I want to serve and do more, but I still want to be in the home with my baby. So like Lord lead me, what am I supposed to do? And I went through this like evolution of like working too much or like working at night when the baby was sleeping, staying up until 3 in the morning because I thought this is the only time I can work and then being a grouch and having no patience. And so it's honestly been this beautiful evolution of just the Lord showing me what the next step is and showing me that doing more does not mean better, right? Doing
Yeah.
less, maybe working only an hour or two if I can, instead of thinking I need to work and just have my kids, with my parents downstairs. Even though we're in the same home, it's like I want to be with them. The Lord
Yeah.
asked me to be more present with them. Like, don't just leave them with your parents downstairs while you go upstairs and on the computer all day. You can do both. And I need you to pull back in this season from your entrepreneur and be more present as a mom, especially as they are so young. Just like you said, the development is insane the first 3 years. And so
Yeah.
you just really have to go to the Lord. And it's not going to be perfect. Your journey is going to have ups and downs and twists, turns, and things you didn't see coming. Yeah, honestly, if I could tell a woman anything, it's just lay it at his feet truly and just let him lead and guide you. He will give you the entire print on what you need to do next.
Yeah. And really, I think your desire Ashley to work wasn't I have to have a job, I get paid this amount of money or
Mm.
validated. It's that you want to be involved with adults for one thing, and
That's always
and
nice.
that's a part of it, you know, and having an impact on others in ways that is intellectually stimulating, let's put it that way. And right, so that's kind of going on in you, and it really is true for some women, and I kind of be in that camp too. If all you're doing all day is, baby talk and that kind of thing, can it can cause depression. But at the
Mm.
same time, that doesn't mean that you have to have this high powered job. It could mean that you have, um, a ministry going on. It could mean that you go to, like, I can't remember the name of it, but it's moms in prayer. Is that right?
Mm.
Moms of prayer,
I think
whatever it
so.
is. Yeah. There's a couple, like one's mops and one's like MIPS or something. But anyway, where you're going there and you're getting to be with other moms, but they provide some childcare. And you find out,
Mm.
actually, this kind of helps me. I'm not getting paid at this moment, but getting to have this adult interaction. And maybe at that, you get to be a table leader or a discipler. So
Mm.
in the old days when women were not encouraged to work, which I'm not encouraging those old days to come back. But the amazing thing is women ran the church. Wasn't the
Mm.
pastor. He got all the credit and the paycheck. But I can remember just I was younger, but how, oh my goodness, all these women, they weren't working, but they were pouring themselves into these incredible ministries, right? So
Mm.
I think there's outlets, things that we can do where our child's still present. I used to bring students to our house with my kids, and they play with my kids, international students, and they loved it. They love kids, right?
Mm.
And while I'm having
Yeah,
a ministry with them, you know? So they're,
that's so amazing.
yeah, just be, like you said, open to the Lord. And is there things that will meet these needs? There are valid needs in me so that I don't go insane just changing
Mm.
diapers all day. Um, but isn't necessarily where I'm locked into this 40-hour a week job
Yeah.
that I have to get these quotas done or whatever.
Yeah, and I feel like we get stuck sometimes like we forget that this is a season, right?
Yeah,
It's not always going to look like this. And so
right,
maybe you do, take a break from your corporate job or whatever for a little bit, but it doesn't have to be that you give it up completely if your heart is still for that when your kids are older or whenever you feel like the Lord is calling you back to that position. Like we get so caught up in like, oh my gosh, this is forever. I'm not going to sleep forever. Like the baby's going to be doing this
right.
forever. And it's so beautiful just to remind yourself like this is a season and the Lord calls you to different things in different seasons. And so
Yeah,
don't get so stuck on, it's supposed to look like this and be like this. Like you said,
yeah.
be open to Him leading every step.
I just, I have conferences, right? I do conferences around the country and the world. So this one I just did in New Jersey, it was run by a mom that just had a baby. And so
Wow.
she's walking around with this hand setting up stuff on the tables, and the baby's in this arm. And I'm like, wow, you have an
Phenomenal. Love it.
amazing babies. Yeah, and it depends on the
Hmm.
baby, right? Because
Oh,
another baby that
absolutely.
wouldn't work, they'd be freaking out. So different seasons,
Yeah.
right? Like you said.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's easy. It's a little bit easier when they're that little because then you can just kind
yeah.
of just snap up against you. But once they start getting older and wanting to move around,
Move
then of
around.
course you're in a season and yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, well, this is fun. So, how can people get a hold of you, and specifically what are the ministry opportunities that you have for them?
Sure. So thank you for asking. So they can get a hold of me on social media on Instagram, Ashley Perry Lambert. I also have a YouTube channel that we're kind of revamping and redoing, but also under Ashley Perry Lambert. And currently right now, my heart is for new moms and postpartum. And so if they're in that stage and they're feeling stuck, they're feeling isolated, they're feeling like they don't know where to turn, then the reinvention factor would be the program for them to help them align their lives in the way the Lord says that we should. And also just give them a community. You talk so much about, being able to talk to someone in this beautiful day and age, having the technology that we have, we can get on a computer or our phones or whatever
Yeah.
and feel like we're right next to someone who's in a similar season. And that program is for women who are feeling like they're in the early stages of motherhood. They want to breastfeed. They want to feel strong. They want to feel confident in their bodies. And they're also in a season of wanting more with the Lord. So they want deeper connection. They want to further their journey with the Lord and doing all of it. It's just a beautiful year-long program to where we get to walk through different phases with women and help them first and foremost deepen their connection so they can figure out what is their next step, what is their true purpose, what is their true identity in the midst of becoming a leader at the same time.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, awesome. Any parting words of encouragement for our moms?
Yes, I would just say give yourself grace, mama, like in this season, in whatever season you are of motherhood, because every season has challenges and changes. If your kids are going to college, then you're like, well, what am I going to do now? They're going to be gone. I'm going to be an empty nester. Or even if your kids are going from junior high to high school, like every season is so different. And just give yourself grace, a chance to just explore different opportunities. Allow the Lord to just open your mind to new possibilities because honestly, if you let him, he blow your mind with things that you cannot even imagine or fathom. So just give him the time, give him the first few minutes of your day if that's all you have, and it will truly guide you to the path you're supposed to be on.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. All right, Ashley, thank you so much. And y'all pass this on to some other moms that could be encouraged through this message. And have a great week. And looking forward to being with everybody next week. Thanks again, Ashley.
Thank you.